And welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host as always, Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I'm good, Rob. It seems like forever since we've done this.
It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you vacationed and I edited the shows and got them all up and running and all that good stuff. This whole thing, I'm pretty sure this will be episode 102, if I'm not.
Wow.
If I'm not wrong here.
I'm still kind of amazed we got to 100.
Yes, this is 102.
Nice.
I know, crazy, right? I still think that's quite interesting. I know that.
I agree.
It's I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. It's one of those things where you have to kind of step back for a second and be like, holy crap! Like it's a long time and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep. And we actually did 100. I really didn't think this was going to get to 100. I don't think either of us had any plans on what it was going to be. We just kind of let it evolve. So it's been fun.
Yeah. Now it's 150. That's the next. I think
that's our next target.
Every 50, we should be kind of like patting ourselves on the back. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, only 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, only 50.
I mean, we could do every quarter if we wanted to do every 25 episodes, but I think every 50 from now on. We hit 100, then 150, 200. I think those are like pretty monumental moments and where we get. Like I said, I think the average is like 7, 8. So people give up really quick. We don't give up. You know.
Don't give up.
I mean, it's kind of true.
Hard.
Die hards, yeah.
Die hard.
It wouldn't be the first time someone said that. I'm kind of a die hard. I don't give up really easy. I have a way of talking people into shit, and it keeps going and going and going.
Yep. I don't know. I think they're willing participants, though.
One could hope.
Right? I get you.
Excuse me. So I threw some things at you today and said, hey, find something for us to talk about. And you did. You threw like, I think 5 different things. So yeah, I think we're kind of good. We can kind of throw these on the list of things to talk about in the future. But today we're going to talk about full moons because you said that they affect human beings. Mm-hmm. Mostly in the job that you have, do you see the difference in people? I'm trying to be really nice when I say that. The differences in people during the full moon cycle.
Right. Well, so I was driving last night and there was a beautiful full moon. It was nice and big and full. And I love it. I love when there's a full moon. But I was thinking about how crazy people drive, because just in the small trip that I took from one place to the next, it seemed like I could have been in 3 to 4 accidents. You know, just by coincidence, everything worked out okay. But I was thinking, why do people act like freaking fools during a full moon? So, of course, I run that by you and you're like, that's not real.
Nah, I don't believe that nonsense, but
thought we could talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm also like not big on the zodiacs either. And I have a friend of mine who literally would come on here and he'd tell me all kinds of crazy shit about who you should be with because of your sign and all that kind of stuff. So maybe we'll have my friend Eric on and he'll, because like he's like deep in that zodiac shit, like deep.
We should have him on for sure.
Which you know, the zodiac, obviously the stars, the moon would be part of that. And it is. You know, I always hear someone will say, oh, I have this in Saturn's moon, or I don't know, some kind of weird shit like that. So, but I typed in full moon and what it does to people. And just a little block that comes up on the first search, not the website, but this is like a little search. And it says the full moon has been associated with increased violence, sexual activity, and risk-taking behaviors such as driving fast, drinking alcohol. It also has been associated with more crime committed, such as arson, violent crime, and that people with illness tend to have more seizures or accidents. The full moon can also ignite sleepwalking or early labor. The full moon definitely affects humans' thinking and behavior, making humans become hyperactive, moody, and increased sex drive. So I'm going to assume there was probably some science done to this, because they probably interviewed people during these cycles. And of course, with, crime or violence, it's in the news. So it's easier to.
I know my friends that are in law enforcement are like, the worst people come out when there's a full moon.
Right.
It's always like their calls are longer, or there's more of them. The people are more like just a little bit off, more so than other times. I remember when I was growing up being a mom, or when I was watching my daughter grow up and her friends, the ones that had their cycle, which I was included in that, had a harder time if their cycle was during a full moon, as to if their cycle was, say, in the middle of the month when the moon was half full, or not at full at all. Like, it was a completely different experience with their cycles. And people have always said, oh, that's crazy. Like, it doesn't change anything. Well, raising a daughter is kind of crazy. And if you do that, you're going to find out a lot of things that you didn't believe in are now true for your daughter, because women are based in emotion. And so it's like, I realized just from watching me and my friends, and then my daughter and her friends, that the ones that struggled the most had their cycle during a full moon.
I'm looking on a site right here that's healthline.com. And they have an article on full moons, which is, I'm going to say something that's going to come off kind of funny, but I think it says something. Shakespeare, a great writer, in Othello, one of the characters said that the moon has drawn too close to the earth and driven men insane. So that being said, at that time period, a full moon, they would have known was closer to the earth because of its size. So obviously, even then, it was having an effect.
I totally believe in it. I know that when I'm doing hair, people will act just a little bit more off. Not everybody, but people that are affected by the moon cycle. They want things done to their hair that they wouldn't normally want done, or they're very like neurotic about what gets done to their hair, where other times they wouldn't be at all. So I notice when it's a full moon, I'll say, it's not a full moon, is it? Because it's kind of a crazy day. And yeah, it's a full moon.
Well, this also says the idea that a full moon can stir up emotions, provoke bizarre behavior, and even cause physical illness isn't just a theory trope. It's strongly held belief even today. In fact, one study says that nearly 81% of mental health professionals believe full moons can make people ill. 81. That's pretty fucking high.
Well, I mean, if you think about who mental health experts are to begin with, they're not known for being like mentally sane themselves. I can't believe I said that.
Got to have some crazy people to tell you that you're crazy.
Right. And I do believe in mental health. I do. Just sometimes you hear stories and here got to run with it.
Here's kind of funny. For centuries, physicians and philosophers blamed behavioral changes on the pull of the moon. The word lunatic, after all, stemmed from the idea that changes in mental state related to lunar cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This is kind of getting like the lunar effect is based on the belief that health and behavior are altered during stages of the lunar cycle, with some claiming that can affect everything from reproductive health to sleep quality and beyond. Well, shit, man, the moon must really screw me up because I don't sleep. Well, actually, I do sleep. I shouldn't say that. Sometimes.
I have no problem sleeping.
Right. Let's see what else it says. Let's see. Increase sleep.
As he yawns.
Yeah, I'm tired today. Interesting. Found that people fell asleep later and slept less overall nights before a full moon. Wow.
I did this last time.
Yeah.
This last full moon. Definitely
The full
slept
moon
less.
may be associated with less deep sleep and increased REM latency. First fall asleep. Let's see. Okay,
and
here we go.
Where are you getting this information?
This is healthline.com.
Okay.
So a 2005 study, may affect males and females differently. A 2015 study of 205 people found that the full moon may affect sleep differently in males and females. Many females sleep less and have less REM during a full moon phase, where males have more REM sleep closer to the moon. Wow, we sleep better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that kind of says something. I wonder if women are more crazier during a full moon. You guys aren't sleeping.
So now it's just women?
No, well, for sleep, no. If I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if you believe that this is real, and 81% of crazy people who say you're crazy do, that's a big, I mean, that one's hard to argue. If it said like 50%, I'd be like, all right, well, it's 50-50. But that says a lot. It says, I'm looking for full moon mood and mental health. It can increase symptoms of certain mental health disorders, including anxiety, bipolar disorder, depression, and schizophrenia.
Ooh,
all the good
fun
ones.
Yeah.
Top tier ones. Like we don't mess around. Cardiovascular system may affect your blood pressure. Full moon and violence. Okay, here for decades, possibly even centuries, people have persisted in believing that they are more assaults, traumas, and suicides during full moon periods. Numerous researchers have tackled these questions. It says they don't think that it causes it, but it does. There is definitely more incidents of these things. So they can't show that it is, but there's definitely some jump spikes in some of these things.
Yeah.
So, although there was no significant difference in admissions at trauma centers. So, but I mean, and it does talk about menstrual cycles and how there could be change in that as well. So obviously you see it or you have seen it. I mean, it's not something that I've ever really kind of put into like my science thing and said, hey, I wonder what happens during the cycle. I think it would be interesting now to kind of take a look at that lunar cycle and kind of see, in a month to see how how it may affect other human beings and what's going on. See, we have other things that could affect that coming up. Obviously, warm weather or hot weather, it has a significant jump in violence. And it's big. And I'm sure if you ask your friends in the police department, as well as the people that I know, it's a fact. People get angry in the heat. And when you're not getting cool, aggression comes. And I'm sure if you would add a full moon to that, you're adding just on top of.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we know that the moon cycles affect the ocean. No
They
moon, the oceans would not be doing what they do. So my parents happen to be on the East Coast in Maine, and they were telling, they said it's amazingly beautiful there and green, like as far as you can see.
Very much so.
Which I didn't know, but I guess I should know because like Stephen King movies are all in Maine, and they're generally very green and beautiful.
Yes.
But they said that they were at some bay there, and the in the morning, obviously the tide was out. And they said that the tide in this certain bay took the ocean back 300 yards.
Wow.
Like they were walking where the ocean is in just, a couple of hours, which just goes to show you the strength and what the moon and the ocean and the earth do. Like to me, you just think about that's 3 football fields long.
Yep.
That is now just wet rocks. And I guess there's plant life in this particular bay that has like they have little water pods that they collect water and they hold on to water during this period that the ocean is now receded, and that's how they survive. They're taking on these small bits of water until the ocean comes back and covers them again.
That's really cool.
That's cool, man. That just goes to show you that Mother Nature is an amazing, amazing thing. Like, and the moon is part of that.
I agree.
And you know that the moon, or I mean, I would have to look at the science behind it, but the moon is part of the Earth.
It is.
So this was a much larger planet, and that big ball in the sky is just another piece of this planet that went out there. And so after millions and millions of years, it's pretty amazing to think that another piece of this planet is now orbiting us and keeping our oceans and things in check.
I think when it comes to nature, everything has a balance. Everything. So it's just their way, the moon's way of keeping things in order.
Yeah, well, because no moon, we're in a lot of trouble. The moon ever gets out of where it's at, where there's going to be major problems. Kind of like our sun. No sun, we don't have to worry about anything else after that. It'll just disappear.
Yeah. There definitely needs to be both. We need to have what we have, and it's like the whole system works together.
Have you seen since you probably see it way more than me over the years, did it affect the people around you? Like, could you see things in like maybe mom, dad, brother, husband? Like, was it significant, or was it like smaller things where you're just like, God, it must be a full moon, or it must be around that?
My mom used to get really irritable around a full moon. I remember, like, especially after she had her brain aneurysm and they did the surgery on it. I noticed that she was more affected than ever after she had the aneurysm, but everything about her was different after the aneurysm. So I don't know if it wasn't specifically tied to the moon, but I know that the full moon really it could put her, kind of put her off kilter. Like she wasn't quite the same. She was just a little more edgy, a little more aggravated, a little more pissy. I noticed that with her. My dad and my brother, they kind of just like go into their own shell. So there's really no difference. You could tell with them, they're pretty consistent. For me, I noticed it because of my friends and all of our cycles and seeing how everybody else did things. Definitely with my daughter, definitely. But I would definitely agree with the statement that it affects women more or with more intensity.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not more, but with more intensity than it does men. But it's got to affect us because we are mostly water. And if the moon affects the water and the tides, wouldn't it also affect us?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that would kind of make sense. I mean, there's got to be some kind of pull.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the funny thing is that it's like the old, people have been saying this for years. I remember when we were younger, if someone was like going crazy, you'd say, man, it must be a full moon.
Mm-hmm.
So these are definitely things that have been passed down over and over and over and over and over. Because we've really seen that. Or, I mean, at least I remember it being told to me like by my family members. Like if you were having a bad day, the first thing they was, things were said like, oh, it must be a full moon outside. And then the crazier thing is when it was. You'd be like, right? Oh, shit, maybe. Or
maybe it is affecting me.
Mm-hmm. And you can even go back to the old werewolf.
Yeah.
Right? Those were the things that, I mean, obviously taking the effects of a full moon, and if you had the animal in you, it came out during the full moon cycle.
Right.
So maybe there's more to this than we think, Let's see if there's anything about that. Because these are things that are, old wives' tales or whatever, but they've lasted. I mean, obviously since Shakespeare, these are things that have been passed down and told to all of us.
Right.
So I find it, maybe, obviously there's more to this than we're
than it being
thinking.
Just an old wives' tale.
I mean, again, it's folklore to me, but there's definitely something to it to think that, over a lifetime of many families, these are things that have always been passed down.
Right.
So, again, I can't say that I would say I believe in it, but it's definitely coming from people who have studied humans that they believe that it is. And it could be because like you said, we're water, we're electricity, right? These are also things that are the moon helps with our weather systems. So these are things that are continually changing. So why wouldn't we change?
I agree. I totally agree.
It's
but see, I live mostly in a world of feeling. Like everything is creative, and my job is creative. My life is creative. I'm always making something, doing something that's got a creative part to it. So it would make sense that I would have more emotion, more things would affect me more than, say, somebody who was like a polar opposite, say an engineer, because their thinking is logical and scientific and exact. And if it's not proven, it's not right yet. There's no there's a complete difference in how I can't tell you why I feel the way I feel, but 9 times out of 10, if you're around, you will see. I would say it's even more than 9 times out of 10. Most of the time you will see that I was right in what I said. But could I tell you how I felt it? Absolutely not.
Right.
So it's for me, it's like I only go by what I feel with that. I mean, I know the science behind it. I'm not an idiot, but my intuition has never proven to be incorrect with me. So the feelings, everything that the moon stands for, I roll with.
Well, and it's funny you say that, since you are Native American.
Mm-hmm.
They have also been keeping track of full moons for long periods of time. And actually gave them names for each moon in the full moon cycle.
Right.
The January was the wolf moon, February the snow moon, March the worm moon, pink moon in April, flower moon in May, the strawberry moon in June. June looked like because it was time to pick strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
July was the buck moon, because I'm assuming that buck started coming back into the fold.
Mm-hmm.
August was the sturgeon moon, because they probably came back upriver. September, the corn moon. What do you know?
Harvest time.
October was the hunter's moon. That's probably because winter was coming upon us and you had to go and start hunting. Let's see. November was the beaver moon. Let's see if it says why. Because it was time to start looking for protection. Most Native Americans reference all cold because of cold temperatures, and December was the cold moon. Go figure, because December it's in cold. Most parts pretty. So these are things that obviously the moon cycles have been going on since the dawn of man. And of course, generally during full moons in a lot of these states and plains, you could hunt by it because it was so bright.
Mm-hmm.
So you would go out at nighttime and actually do hunting because you could actually see. And that's kind of my favorite thing about the full moon, is being able to, mostly on a really clear night, probably not where we live because there's so many street lights now. But if you go to up in Santa Clarita, or where I lived in Camarillo, parts of Oxnard where it's just not, it's a lot of farmland, so they don't have lights or anything in a lot of them. Those bright moons. I remember walking out where I lived in Camarillo, and we would turn the lights off at night, right? And our street probably had one street light every 4 houses. Just enough to kind of give you a little light driving down the street. And I remember walking out very late one night, 2:30 in the morning, to get something out of my car. Me and my roommate were up, bullshitting around, talking some nonsense. We were always throwing our relationship issues off of each other. And I remember walking outside, and it was like the light was on. It was so bright. And those are the things that I recall about full moons, just being out gallivanting around as a kid. But now to think about it, maybe all those years, we were having a bunch of fun during these full moon times because it was a full moon. Yeah, because it really was something that was changing our chemistry for, the week leading up to it. Mm-hmm. So, I find it definitely an interesting thing, kind of like the zodiac, where, if you believe in the stars that are aligned and that we're all part of that, it would kind of make the same thing. So, I think this next month, though, I'm going to kind of do my thing of looking into this maybe and seeing if people change. I'm going to look at. I have a little thing on my watch. I have a lunar cycle on one of the watch faces that I can download. I think I'm gonna see halfway through, see how the half moon, if there's any difference in people, mostly because I have someone that lives in the house. I'd like to see if he if it affects the kid any. Because right now he's kind of an asshole.
And it's a full moon.
Yeah, he's being a total butthead right now. So it's maybe there is something to that, because he's definitely not like that all the time. But I'm gonna take a little of your advice here, and I want to see for myself.
You should definitely look at people's driving, like your drive on the way to and from work.
And I have a good one.
You get with it. Yeah, you do. And I would say if you are around women, see how they change, but that may be subtle for a while.
Oh man, I was going to make a joke about men being bitches, but
don't. They're already being treated harshly enough.
I know, but there's a couple of guys at my work that I would actually the guy
they're
sitting
being
next
bitches
to,
because of the time of the month it is, or
because it's a full moon.
You know, it affects everybody
Because the one guy, there's a guy who sits next to me and I love him to death, but you know, this last week he's been a little testy.
Well, is there other stuff going on in his life?
Yeah, of course there is. Come on.
And it's women related.
Oh yeah.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. I mean, look.
Let's face it.
We can throw the jokes in there about, like, you know, relationships and full moons and people. This show always kind of circles back to relationships.
Does it?
We do a lot of that. And they seem to do well. So maybe this is turning into a relationship show more than it is anything else.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I like talking about it. It is what it is. Look, you got to live and learn, and
right.
Part of that would be, if you believe in the moon changing people, you should be able to react and be ready for that. If it's something that you can see in your friends and family and mates, maybe you can circumvent it.
People that are Wiccan dance by the light of dance naked by the light of a full moon.
That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
they believe that
the pagans have been doing that for a long time.
If you're into wearing crystals and things, you're supposed to charge them during the full moon, which means to take them off and put them in the moonlight and let the negative energy drip off of them.
All right. More mambo jambo.
More, yeah, but you know, people do this stuff.
I know. I mean, look,
being native, I see people doing a lot of stuff, and I'm like, they do that too, because you know, I'm raised in a totally different world than what the native world is. You know what I mean?
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
But people believe that shit.
No, wholeheartutely. I mean,
my mom used to hang her crystals.
Yeah, I'm not a big thing on crystals. I did I put a camera up of my old job at a crystal place in, I want to say Agoura. Either Agoura or West. It might have been Westlake. So I'm at this place, and there's, boulder size fucking crystals, big, and I'm talking like massive. This lady's sitting there, and I'm putting up this camera. And she's like, you know, I got this crystal the other day and my hand feels so much better. And I'm up on this ladder, and literally I just wanted to turn around and go, no, it doesn't.
Stop.
Your hand does not feel better.
You know, there is such thing in medicine as the suggestion of health. You know, that if you believe in something enough, that you can manifest
Correct.
change in your body. So you
Yes.
can't tell people that shit.
No, I wanted to tell her to stick it up her ass and see what happened.
She may glow. What then?
That's a great way of looking at it. It's all.
I mean, then you'd be like, whoa, I believe now.
Yeah. And I mean, look at that. I mean, maybe that's why people were like big on moon rocks. Right? You know,
you want to hear a stupid story about moon rocks?
Sure. Let's hear it.
Okay. So I, from time to time, will go, and it's not a church per se, but it's for people that are spiritual to go and do a guided like meditation and just like, it's like church for people that are into that stuff in the metaphysical. Thank you. World. So my cousin used to ask me to go with her. So I went with her, and these people brought in all kinds of rocks and stones and things that they'd sit around them and before they'd meditate. And this one rock, it was a moon rock. It kept rolling off this lady and landing at my feet like 3 or 4 times. And she goes, "This rock doesn't belong to me. It belongs to you." And she gave it to me like, just because the rock kept rolling off of her lap. Like, I thought that was kind of funny. But you know what? That rock, even through the move, I didn't lose it. It sat in my pocket a lot. And I don't always wear clothes with pockets, but I didn't lose that rock. It was weird. It was almost like it wanted to stick to me. Right. Now, I normally believe in that? No, of course not. No. But when I saw it happen so many times, I'm like, oh my gosh, she was mad. She was mad that her rock wanted to take off on her.
It was trying to go home with you.
And it always ended up like back with my feet. That was just a stupid story, but that was about a moon rock.
Well, it's good. I mean, obviously it understood where its new home was and wanted to hang out with you.
I'm looking at it right now. Like,
see?
It hasn't left anything.
Nice.
She's like, "Be careful because it wants to get away." I'm like, "Really?" Because I moved with this thing and it was in my pocket and I never lost it. And I'm absent-minded. Like, I put stuff down and I can't find some eyebrow pencil that I bought. And so how did this rock stay with me? Because eyebrow pencil is important when you have light eyebrows, right?
Right.
And I can't find it. But I know where my rock is.
I don't have to worry about any kind of eyebrow pencils.
That's true. You don't.
Mine are quite large. And you know, the good story about the one time that I let you wax them. Yeah. They actually looked good. I just didn't want to go through that shit again. That's just rough, man.
Somehow I'm involved in several people's eyebrow stories.
That shit is brutal, man. That shit will send you to the moon.
You know, one of my exes he had a unibrow and I just couldn't deal with it. So I started waxing his eyebrows. He still to this day gets them done. And I don't think he really needs to for the unibrow anymore, but he still gets his eyebrows. I'm proud. I'm proud that I made that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a unibrow. I just got these big bushy eyebrows.
Yeah, you have some big eyebrows.
But, you know, it only took one time. And I was like, fuck that. That shit is brutal.
I wax my eyebrows like once a week myself.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Well, and at that point, that was at the salon you worked at over there. And I remember going in there and there was like 25 girls around me watching me get my eyebrows done.
Well, you like that part of it.
Yeah. But until they all started laughing at me and they were like, and I was like, look, I get hit with chairs and like this shit hurts. Like it's such soft tissue. And mostly looking at it now, like I got a shit ton of tattoos. And
right. And you're going to complain about it waxing.
But it's different. It's like the soft tissue for a tattoo, like near your armpit or underneath the backside of your arm. It does hurt. Like I couldn't imagine someone tattooing like eyelids.
Oh, well, the top of my foot hurt like a
because it's all soft tissue and bone and cartilage. So
sucked.
It just goes to show you that you know, pain is a kind of a weird thing as well, and maybe the lunar cycle needs to help with that kind of thing. You know, because man, it's a bizarre thing. I'm going, like I said, over the next month, I'm going to see how people are different. I'm going to bounce it off other people. I want to kind of come back maybe in a month. We'll do like not a full show, but definitely like an update. Cause I'm going to ask other people now, like what they think to kind of get a bigger pool of people to see what they think. I know
and
a couple of them.
If any of you listening want to chime in on our social media.
Yeah, for sure. Cause I'd like to see what people really think. Cause I mean, obviously if you look at these statistics that I read, they've polled a lot of people. Like this isn't like a pool of, hey, we've asked 25 people.
Yeah.
They asked 500 people. So these are things that are much larger than that. And
I'm sure if you asked hairdressers, teachers, nurses, cops, they would all have a very different opinion, like I said, than say like a bookkeeper or
right. Well,
or
someone
an
who
engineer,
deals with,
you know what I mean?
Someone who deals with lots of
restaurant
people.
staff. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how people get treated just for serving somebody their food. I wouldn't put up with that shit.
I'm going to ask the nurse, my friend down the street, because I'm sure that, I mean, there are already psychotic people going to the doctor. Could you imagine the ailments they think they have during a full moon cycle?
Yeah.
Where they're just like, I'm having this problem. And maybe they are. But what I'm saying is that I wonder what the flow is of between, off full moon and how people are. Because I've heard stories from her, just people. And again, we're also in a service industry, but some of the stories, man, the medical field is horrible. And I have a friend who was also in the restaurant field. Horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And they're horrible anyway. People are just horrible to people who serve food anyway.
That is no joke.
That is I couldn't do that.
No joke.
That's why
I heard
nice.
it in a restaurant. So I was in a restaurant over the weekend and I was walking to the restroom and I heard this man like chastising this worker. I don't know what the worker did. He was just giving him shit. Right. And I came back out of the bathroom and the guy was still like pointing and getting like in this guy's face. And the guy was like taking it. And finally I said, no job is worth this abuse. And this guy's an asshole. Walk away. And so the kid walked away really quick. And then a manager came over and I said, I don't know why you would let somebody that works for you put up with the shit that guy just said, but there's nothing that kid could have done that would have made it that much of a drama.
Right.
Because I was worried for the kid. So
those are the kind of things you just have to walk up and go, I'll pay for the meal. Leave.
Yeah. Get out of here. Because that's nobody's perfect. And this whole bullshit of trying to make everybody perfect or we have to hold a certain standard, like, come on, everybody makes mistakes. Yeah, you want to try to be the best you can, but perfect is never going to be accomplished ever.
Nope.
So have a little bit of like patience for people, Yeah. And I saw that during the full moon just for shits and giggles.
I'll use the big word for today. It's have a little decorum.
Oh, there you go.
Have a bit of decorum. You got to say it with a bit of accent.
Quit being an asshole.
Stop being a fucking cool.
That's the extent of my
have a little decorum.
My accent, yes.
So during these wild full moon times, take it easy on people. Look up at the sky, and if it looks full, chill the fuck out.
Please. Chill the fuck out anyway.
Yes, I agree. I think in today's society, we definitely have to have a little more chill and a little less yelling at people.
A little less going off the rail.
Yeah. And hey, look, if you're seeing this full moon thing take effect on people, definitely chime in on our socials, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I'd like to see if there is other people's take on this. because I'm really going over the next month. I'm going to kind of track it, and I'm going to talk to some people over the next couple of days since we're still in that cycle.
Yeah.
I want to kind of see what they say, because I think it's going to be a little interesting to see what they have to offer.
There you go.
Anything else?
No, I'd like to say I hope everybody has a happy 4th and be safe and don't get too out of hand, because there's a lot of police out right now and it's a full moon. So take it easy.
Correct. And be careful with the fireworks. I posted something on my personal Instagram of x-rays of people's hands.
Ooh, fun.
Oh boy. Brutal. Maybe I'll put it on ours, because it's, oh man, it's like,
Ew.
Yeah, fingers that are sitting next to hands that they actually brought with them and took x-rays. Just be careful out there. Be safe. It's a crazy time. And if you have animals, make sure you keep them indoors and sedate them if you have to.
Keep them safe.
Yes. And follow us. It's free. Tell people to check it out. And leave a rating on, if you go to Apple or Spotify, I think there's a rating system. Give us a star rating. Leave a little review.
Nice.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
There is. And it's an opinion show, so don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday to listen to us spit our cool stuff out. Until next time, Tina, as always, it's been a pleasure. And we'll see you next week.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye.